All right, so today I'm going to show you how to colorize your man pages on the terminal. If you're looking at the length of this video and you're like, really? He's really stretched out this far? Don't worry, check this out, anti-clickbait. There you go, this is it. Put this in your bash RC, put this in your Z shell RC, modify it for whatever shell you're using, and this will work. You will have colors in your man page. There you go, that's anti-clickbait. Now, I want to talk about why this works. I want to talk about some of the history behind it, some of the ways we can break it, some of the fun ways that a lot of the rendering is a little bit weird and a little bit esoteric, and some of the fun quirks with it. So if you're interested in how this works or a little breakdown of it, or you just like hearing my voice, keep watching. It's totally cool. But if you are just like, yo, this is just clickbait, go check it out. It's here. I'll put it in the description. I'll have a link to it. There'll be a gist on GitHub. You can go check it out there. So yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so in a lot of my videos, when I pull up a man page, let's do like man ls. You can see that, okay, I have colors. Look at this. Some of it's red, some of it's green, and it's underlined. That's very beautiful. I've had these for so long that I have forgotten that they're something that I have customized myself. And a lot of people are like, Dave, I don't have any of these colors on my man page. How do you do it? I've gotten this question a ton. I'm gonna go over it today. Let's make a nice blank directory where I can work out of. Okay, so we have a blank directory here, man pages color, awesome, we can work with this, but we're not gonna jump in just quite yet. So I was curious, I did some digging, and I wanna show you guys the history first. This is really, really cool. Take a look at this. These are my dot files on GitHub. And when I added the logic to colorize the man pages, look at this. July 25th, 2012, okay? I'm recording this April 2026, okay? So this is 14 years old. 14 years ago I added this, okay? So yeah, I've been at this for a while. But take a look at this. Thankfully, I even say that I support colors and less, shamelessly stolen from Greml RC, Grimmel. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. But then it links to this website, which is super nice. So I had to do a little bit of digging and reacquaint myself with this. Grimmel, I'm apologizing if I'm butchering that pronunciation. It's a bootable live CD based on Debian. I remember using this. This was around 2012. I remember where I was working at the time. I think we were dealing with some machines that were racked and we needed to get into without actually booting the operating system. Something was like corrupt or broken. I don't remember the specifics of it, but I remember having to use a live CD that had like a lot of tools on it. I was a junior sysadmin at the time, so I wasn't in charge of this, but I just remember that this is what we were using. And what I do remember is that the man pages looked beautiful. So I took that logic. So shout out to them. This is where it came from. I don't know how much has changed from me and them. Like I've definitely made some modifications to it, but shout out to this. This is where it originally came from 14 years ago, which is just awesome. And look, they're still doing updates today. Like that's, I don't know, man. I just think that's super cool. So yeah, as you can see here, this was the change 14 years ago. Things have slightly changed, but really not that much. I've added a couple to it. I've changed a little bit of the syntax. We'll jump into it. So here's the GitHub gist I've created. I will go ahead and I will link this in the description of this video so you can check it out, where I even, shout out Grimmel right here, or Grimmel. I should really learn how to pronounce that. But yeah, so I went through and I explained each line here, and we'll go over it in the video and talk about what's going on here. Then I have this version because there are some people that'll yell at me and they'll be like, Dave, why do you hard code ANSI escape sequence? It's like, dude, I only ever work on terminals that support ANSI. But if you're on a terminal that doesn't, and you like your tput commands because they are sometimes more portable, sometimes less portable. I've had some issues with tput. Either way, here's the tput version to get what you want. So you're welcome. I'm a very nice guy, I know. Like I said, we're going to go over more of this later, but I want to show, if you notice something, all of these have less in it. Are they configuring man or are they configuring less? Spoiler alert, this is to configure less. Less is a pager program, which allows you to paginate over data, and that's actually what does the syntax highlighting or the colorizing of the data that man gives us. Because man does a lot of stuff under the hood. Man forks out to a lot of tools. Actually, certain versions of man might not even fork, but that's besides the point. So let's jump back to the terminal. And in fact, I know I'm on my Mac, but for this example, I want to do it on Linux just because I feel like a lot of you watching are on Linux. And I think a lot of you guys can just sort of relate to this. So let's go ahead and, slot machine directory. I'll have to explain that one. Let's make dir man pages color. There we go. CD into that directory, completely empty directory, just created. And let's do something. Let's show how man actually works. In order to do that, we can do man. We can pull up documentation on man itself. So man is really simple. It just displays manual pages, takes a bunch of arguments, but then it takes the thing that you're trying to look at, the page that you're trying to pull up. Let's go down a little bit to the environment variables that you can have. So look at the environment. We have some variables here. A machine variable, man pager, man path, and pager. So here's the thing about man. Man will open the document in your pager. And you can specify man pager. This is a pager specifically for man to use. Any non-empty value of the environment variable man pager is used instead of the standard pagination program less. So you can specify man pager. You can use the more generic pager variable. I set this one specifically. So this specifies the pagination program to use when man pager is not defined. If neither pager nor man pager is defined, less is used. So what that basically means is man will look at man pager first. So if I set this to like 1 and then pager equal to 2, and then I man ls, it will try to execute 1 first. It'll actually just do that and fail. So don't do that. It'll look at man pager first. If that one's not set, then it will look at pager. And if that one's not set, then it will use ls. Now, this doesn't really work because in my environment, I think I don't have man pager set, but I do have pager set to less. So nothing really changes here. I just personally like pager, the pager that I like to use is less. It's very simple to work with. So I have pager set in my environment, but I can override it with man pager. So let's say man pager equals cat. Cat reads in from standard in and writes the standard out. Very simple program. It's not going to modify anything. We can do man ls. Let's go ahead and clear the terminal, run this, and look at this. It prints the entire thing to the terminal because it's not running it through less, it's running it through cat, and cat just prints it to the screen like this. So super duper simple. So let's take this though, because it looks like plain text, right? Let's go ahead and write this to a file. Let's call this ls.text. And then if we cat ls.text, it should be exactly what we see, right? And it is. Okay, this looks very straightforward. It looks like a simple document. Why am I stressing this? Let's go ahead and open it with vim, ls.text. Okay, this is way different, isn't it? N Control H N, A Control H A. So this should say name, M Control H M, E Control H E. What's going on here? In fact, look at this. Underscore Control H O, underscore Control H P, underscore Control H. Like, look at this. These are the ls options. It's spelling out the word option, but there's some weird underscore Control H thing. So what's going on here? Well, a couple things we can do. We are on Linux, so we have cat -v. We can cat -v ls.text, and this will make visible the normally invisible characters. So you can see same exact thing going on here as Vim was showing us. Let's open this file with less. So ls.text, remember it looked normal until we ran a cat -v on it. This gives us colors. Okay, so in that text file is embedded the data to give us colors. They're not ANSI escape sequences. It's like my terminal doesn't know how to color it, but my terminal also hides it from me. So what's happening here? Well, it turns out that these are actually sequences that less knows how to read. Now, before I jump into that, I actually want to talk about this because if we do less on ls.text, we get the colors. In fact, this also works. If we cat ls.text and pipe it into less, we will get the same thing. We will get colors there. Because in my environment, I already have those variables set. If you look here, I have the term cat variables. That it's trying to colorize the one below it. That is horrendous. Let's pipe that to cat -v so that I'll just make them visible. There you go. So I have these set already. That's why less is colorizing it on my machine. We could go through and manually unset these, or we could use a command to unset these and rerun less. And I'm going to show you how to do that because I think that's actually really cool and worth knowing. So as you can see, we're using the env command here to print out our environment variables. The nice thing about env is it's the same env that you've seen me use before, user bin env bash. So env also takes an argument. You can give it an argument like bash and it will execute bash. It will find it for you in your environment. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this because now we're in 2 shells. Now we're in 1 shell. We can verify that by echoing shell level, and we can see that it says 1. So env lets you run commands. Like I could run ls here, but env also lets me do something magical here. I could run env -ls. It looks exactly the same, but there's a big difference here. This ran ls with all of my environment variables set. This ran ls with no environment variable set. The minus tells env, the env command, to get rid of all the environment variables before it forks and execs ls. Now I can prove this to you because if I wanted to look at the value of an environment variable on my shell, I could just do it like this. It lives in the same namespace as my variables. There's also a command, print env, and then I can give it the name of the variable. Notice there's no $sign. I just give it the name. The command will go look up that data for me. So it might be a little bit confusing. Bear with me here. env printf pager. env printf pager. That's hard to say. So we run the env command with these arguments. It will run this command with this argument, and this command will be given all of the environment variables that I currently have. So it found it. It knows the answer is less. That's super great. It also knows other things. There might be some other ones set, like home is my home directory. I don't know if user is specified. It is specified. Okay. But the other thing is, remember we put that minus sign here? If we put that minus sign here, suddenly it fails. Everything fails. There are no environment variables. We can prove that by, instead of running printenv, we can just run env. I admit this command looks really stupid, but we have enough data to parse how it's being executed. Env is being called with the minus argument, so it's getting rid of the entire environment, and then it's forking env without any arguments, which tells it to print all of our environment arguments or environment variables to the screen, and there are none. Really confusing to look at, but hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you're following with me, and hopefully it's not too boring. So let's go ahead and let's go back here. We can do env print env on something we know is there, like my editor is vim or my pager is less. Let's try and print a variable that doesn't exist, okay? We don't have anything named foo in the environment, so it fails. Okay, that makes perfect sense. What if we set it? So we can actually set that environment variable. We could say env. The nice thing is, before we put a command here, we can declare variables here. So the env command is awesome. I just want to point this out. It's really awesome. We can declare a variable here like foo equals 1 and then execute printenv with that variable set. That is super cool. We still have access to all the other variables because we haven't cleared them. Remember, you need the minus to clear them. Env minus foo equals 1 printf pager. If we run this, then we don't have pager because the minus sign has gotten rid of all the stuff in the environment. But we do have foo because we've manually put foo in here. So the beautiful thing about this is that if we print all the environment variables, only one is set, and it is foo. We could do bar equals 2. Only 2 are set. That's beautiful. If we get rid of the minus sign, it will print a lot. So let me go ahead and pipe this through cat minus v. This is my entire environment set. These are all my environment variables. But if you look at the bottom here, look at this, foo equals 1 and bar equals 2. So you can add to the environment, or you can completely wipe away the environment and then put new things in place of it. So you can set it or you can update it. You can think of it that way. Why is this important? Why do we go down this tangent? Because take a look at this. env minus to get rid of all of our environment variables, less on ls.text. There you go. So now we get an error because like term is not set. So it's a really, really dumb terminal. Now we get no color output, okay? This is probably what you wanted to see. This is probably what you see when you run the man page, especially if you've clicked on this video. We can also do env minus man ls, and we'll get the same thing, less complains, but if we just skip past that, look at this. Now we have what you guys probably see because we don't have anything really set. We're missing a lot of stuff. We don't even have the type of terminal in there, but that is what we have going on here. So the nice thing is we can do some stuff. We can get around this. I think we can do term equals xterm color. And there we go. So now it knows that we have a colorized terminal, so it tries to add some bold to it. You might be able to mess around with this, but let's go ahead and let's get rid of that. And let's start adding in some of the stuff from that gist, okay? So if we pull up this gist, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Begin blinking text mode. I don't know if terminals really support blink. I never encountered them, and I also just turn it off. So I just use bold red here. I think that's also what the original did. We have begin bold text mode. We have the end special formatting. So we just put strings here, which is super nice. So let's go ahead and grab this one. Begin underline mode. You see how sometimes I had green underline text? Let's go ahead and grab this, copy that to the clipboard, go back to the terminal, and now we can put that here. So super duper ugly to read, but we are just setting one variable, and that's the less term cap for US. And US is to begin the underline mode. So we're going to run this, and now take a look at what happens. So we've began underlining text, but we're underlining everything. We don't have the code to stop underlining text. So let's go ahead and grab that. We want this, end underline mode. So this is just an ANSI escape sequence to completely reset E0M. This just resets any sort of coloring and syntax modification. So let's go ahead and paste that in there. Again, hard to read. All we've done is began underline mode and end underline mode. So then when you run this, look at that. We now have things that are underlined. It's not a lot, but we have some green underlined text. That is super cool. So of course we could change this to like whatever we wanted. We could have this as like begin underline, just as a string. And then we could have the end underline as something like LOL. And then if you run it, you can see that like it says begin underline here, and then LOL. I don't know why you'd ever want this. I just wanted to show that the way less does it is it looks in those strings and just outputs them to the screen. We happen to use ANSI escape sequences, so it knows how to colorize them very beautifully, but they could just be random strings. So just something to be aware of, something to keep in mind. And of course, this also works. I think we're just doing man ls. You could also just ls or less ls.text, the same thing, because it's in that format. So I talked about the format a little bit. If we, let's say cat ls.text, let's pipe it to head so we only get the first 10 lines. If we do a cat minus v and then grab the first 10 lines, look at this. We have that control H, control H. Control H, if you've ever done control H, if I type hello and then hit control H, watch what happens. I'm backspacing. Control H is a backspace character. That's all it is. This kind of formatting is called Overstrike sequences, I believe. I tried to look it up. I found multiple different names. I think they're called Overstrike sequences. But basically, you put the sequence you want, then you backspace it, and then you put the character you want. This is useful because when I just dump it to the screen, it backspaces over the formatting and it looks like normal text. That's really great. Look it up here. You would just think, hey, this is normal text and this looks fine to read. But if something can read these and colorize them, then hey, that's even better. We can do that ourselves. We can actually, let's do a printf here, or you can do echo minus e, whatever you're more comfortable with. I'm gonna use printf. We can do hello. So we have hello, and let's pipe that to less. If we do that, you can see down here, hello shows up, but there's no coloring. Let's go ahead and add some formatting. So let's do underscore, and then backslash b. Backslash b is a backspace. So then we'll put an H there. And then before the E, we'll put an underscore, and then a backslash b. An underscore and then a backslash b. It's really ugly. You would never really write it like this, but underscore backslash b, underscore backslash b. So here is what it looks like when we don't format it at all. It just says hello. That's because the backspaces are taking over the text. They're there. We just can't see them. We could pipe them to cat minus v. They're there, but the terminal doesn't show them to us. That's really nice. So on the terminal, it looks normal. But if we pipe it into less, look at this. It's green and underlined. So how amazing is that? So we can actually do this kind of formatting ourselves. It's super weird. I don't know why you'd want to, but I figure just want to let you guys know that like it can be done and less can understand how to read it because of these escape sequences. So right here we have begin blinking mode. So instead of blinking, I just have it do bold red, 1 for bold, 31M for red. Begin bold text mode. This just turns on. It's the same thing. It's just bold red. And the special formatting, this is just the ANSI escape sequence to reset all formatting. So all formatting is reset when this is encountered. The standout mode, we end the standout mode, is the same thing as the thing up here. I don't know why these are out of order. I don't know why I put them like that. The standout mode is pretty cool. When you're in less and you search for something, I bold yellow foreground and blue background. I'm pretty sure I took that from the Z Shell RC I posted above. But yeah. And then these are some other ones. So for the underlining, we just do green and underlining it. So I make it green and bold so it stands out. Reverse video, luckily there's an ANSI escape sequence for reversing. It just swaps the foreground and background colors. We do have a dim mode, so this turns into a very dim style mode. And then these are four that I'll be honest, I haven't encountered a terminal that supports these. It's for superscript and subscript, you know, where a number's like a little bit above or below a certain number. Technically speaking, there's ANSI escape sequences for these, so I put them in here. So if a terminal supports them, it should work. I have never used a terminal that supports them, just letting you know that that's where I am with them. I put them in there for, you know, for a sake of completeness, but yeah. And then finally, to turn it all on, make sure you have a pager or a man pager or something turned to less. So I just put this in here. You don't really need to include that line, but that's kind of the gist of how that just works. Oh my God, that's so dumb. Speaking of dumb, can you believe I'm not at 100,000 subscribers yet? Oh, what if I was when I uploaded this video? That'd be so embarrassing. Either way, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, okay? If you're watching me and you like what you see and you like this content, and you like that it's all up here for free, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, comment, do whatever you got to do, okay? We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So as a bonus of sorts, I want to leave you with this because I think it's really fun. I want to show you how a man page is actually rendered. We talked about it a little bit. I showed last in the term cap stuff. So I want to show you when I type man ls, how does that actually work? How does it find that document? It writes it out to this temporary file down here and it actually formats it. So what happens there? There's a lot. Man is a great command because it does a lot for you, but you can also recreate it with pipeline. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's find that page for ls. So it's ls and it's in section 1 because it's a command. So let's find on our entire file system ls ls.1. That's going to be the name of the file that has the man page. We're going to throw out errors because there's going to be a lot. And let's go ahead and run this and see where it shows up. Okay, it shows up in two places. It's not going to be in the void packages. Here it is. User share man. There you go. ls1. So let's go ahead and open that in Vim. Look at this. This is horrendous, but this is the format of man pages. This might actually be ROF format. There's tools like Troff or Groff to use them, Groff being the GNU ROF. There's a rich history behind it that I don't even know a lot of it, but I'll tell you that this is the format. So you can do like FB, I think is bold, and then FR is reset. So it's a little bit ugly, but it's not that bad. And then to do a comment, it's // and then you might actually need the space for it to be a comment. I don't remember. No, you don't. But yeah, so that's what the man page actually looks like. Now that's hideous, because if we just look at it, like this doesn't look great. I don't want to read this. We have to format it now. Now the way we format it is by using Groff. So it takes in this format and it prints something to the screen. Now it prints a totally different thing to the screen. Okay, that's not exactly what we want. If we look at Groff, it's the front end to the GNU ROF document formatting system. So we have to modify ROF a little bit. And the first modification we're going to do is we're going to tell it that we want the output to be ASCII. I think you can also use UTF-8, but we want it to be ASCII. So if we scroll up, hey, already this is a little bit easier to read, but it's still weird. We have some bold stuff going on that the terminal's interpreting. So let's go ahead and make it man format -man, and now it will look like a man page. Look at this. It looks like a man page. It even bolds some of this stuff for us, which is super nice. We don't want it to, but it's super nice that it does, okay? These are ANSI escape sequences, so my terminal is bolding them. That means it's not the Overstrike sequences that we actually want. So there's a couple ways we can do that. We need the actual tool that Groff is using under the hood to give us the output in a different format. So this is going to get a little bit confusing, but -P-C like this, and now we have the format we want. So notice that nothing's bolded. That's really great. If I pipe that to cap-V, you can see that, oh, look, we have the Overstrike sequences here. Let's back up, because I want to explain this line. -P-c, that's very confusing. Let me pull up Groff and look for the -P. This is a argument that is passed to the post processor, and the post processor is what Groff uses. So the post processor is Grotty. I'm telling you, guys, this is a lot going on here. Grotty, the Groff output driver for typewriter-like terminal devices. Grotty takes a -C argument. The -C option tells Grotty to use an output format compatible with paper terminals, like the teletype machine for which ROF and NROF were first developed, but which are no longer in wide use. So we actually tell it -C, so it uses that format that we're used to seeing. And the way you do this is by -P tells the post processor -C. We can call Grotty ourselves. We have to give this the -Z flag. So if we man Groff and we look for Z, disable post-processing. So we're going to disable post-processing because we're going to handle it ourselves. So -Z disables post-processing, and this is what we have. This is hideous. This sucks. Let's pipe that to Grotty with the -C flag, and there we go. Now we have this. And let's pipe this entire thing to less. And there you go. We have the ls man page formatted with less by using this pipeline. So you could run all this yourself manually, or you could just type man ls. Look how nice that is. So yeah, there you go. Shout out man for doing all this stuff for me so I don't have to remember any of this stuff, because that's a lot. So yeah, there you go. Shout out 2012 Dave. Shout out Grimmel or Gremmel. I should probably learn how to pronounce your name. I apologize. And yeah, so hopefully you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And of course, I can't end a video without giving a shout out to my patrons over at Patreon. Thank you so much for your continued support. Look at that, 100 active members. That is beautiful. Take a look. Thank you everyone for your support. If you like what you see, go ahead and join the Patreon. If you don't want to pay me money, hey, I get it. Just hit that subscribe button, okay? It helps me out because I like seeing that number grow. I don't know if it actually helps me on the algorithm. I don't really care. I like seeing that number grow. It is a vanity metric. So go ahead and click it just for that reason alone. And yeah, that's all I got. See ya.